Hi, I welcome you back to this video lecture, and in this video lecture we're going to learn about the freehand tools right here and the shape tools right here. So let's start with freehand tools. So freehand tools right here are just like tools that helps you to pick and drop objects at any time you want it. Okay, so let's go on and pick a rectangular tool right here and drag it on our workspace. So let's just go right here and drop. So I've dropped my rectangular tool, and I can come right back here to pick my freehand tool. When you look, there is a drop down right here. You can just click on it and it gives you different kinds of pick tools we have here. This is the default pick tool, which at default you can pick anything. You can pick any tool right here and you can just go back right here and drop it. So right under this pick tool we'll have freehand pick. This freehand just works the same way as pick tool, just to pick an object and drag it around your workspace, and you can just pick any tool right here, and at the end you can just go back right here and drop. So let's check the last one, which is free transform. This one helps you to transform your object, just like resizing your object or reshaping it. Okay, let's select this. You can come right on this object, and when we drag across the object, you see it keeps resizing the object to different shapes. Okay, you can make it square, you can make it a long rectangle, depending on what you want to achieve with it. Okay, so free transform helps you to transform your object and give it another size and another shape altogether. All right, so let's keep this rectangle. Now let's go to our shape tool. Right here we'll have different kinds of shape tool. These tools helps you to reshape your object. Just like we have rectangle here, we can use any of these shape tools to change this rectangle to something totally different. Okay, so let's pick them one after the other. So right now let's go to the first one, which is shape. Okay, let's click. Now whenever you select this, your cursor is going to change automatically to something triangular, just like this one. Okay, you can just come on your object and reshape your object. Okay, so what we have right here at the edges are called nodes. Without these nodes you can't reshape this object. Okay, so you must make sure that your object have nodes so that your shape tool will be able to function very well. Let's go on and use our shape to reshape this object. Okay, so we can just drag right from here, and you see we'll have a curved rectangle and not a normal rectangle. So with this we can just drag it back to the way it was before, or we can as well leave it a little bit curved, just like this. Okay, so we can still reshape this rectangle to any other thing we want, but before that we have to convert it to curve, which we're not going to talk about in this video lecture. So let's go on to other tools. Okay, let's drop this and come right here and drop it to pick. Let's reduce this rectangle right here and keep it by the side. Okay, let's pick another rectangle entirely so that we can remember the effects we have in each of them. So let's go back right here and pick another tool. This one is smooth tool. So this tool helps you to smoothen your object. Okay, so whenever you select it, your cursor is going to change to something round like this. Okay, right here is where you change the size of this round object. Okay, you can just come here and increase. All right, and you see, okay, if the increase is not noticeable, so let's just remove what we have here and increase it to 2 and click OK. So you see it has increased entirely. So here is where we'll add the rate, that is the speed at which the effect is applied. So you can change the rate from 20 to maybe something bigger by dragging. Okay, you can just type the number you want right here. So this has to work when you have a tablet, a pen, or a digital pen or a tablet to control the effect. Okay, so let's leave it checked. Okay, so let's come right here and drag right on the place where we want to smooth. So we're going to use the edges because that is the only place we're going to see the effect very clear. Okay, so let's drag on this edge. Sorry, it's not selected. Make sure you select your object. All right, so let's zoom in so we can see the effect. Now we can drag right here. Do you see? It smoothens this rectangle. All right, the more we drag, the more it's smoothened, but it doesn't actually work like shape tool. It's different because shape tool is going to give you something curved entirely, but this has a limit. Okay, so I think this is the limit it can go. It can turn this rectangle entirely to a round object. So we can as well try the same thing right on this edge. Okay, and we'll see. So maybe when we want to reshape our rectangle, we don't want it to affect the whole area just like we did using our shape tool. We can just use our smooth tool to affect the sides and the edges we want. Okay, so let's drop and resize this rectangle right here. Okay, and keep it somewhere up here so we can always remember what we did to it. Okay, let's create another object entirely. Let's create another rectangle. All right, so right here we're going to try the third tool here, which is the smear. Okay, now smear tool helps you to resize your object again, but in different way altogether. Okay, just like I taught you, here is where you can change the size, and here is where you can change the rate. That is the pressure, how fast you want it to affect your object. And here is where you change the smoothness. Do you want it smooth or you want a sharp edge? Okay, we're going to try the two and we're going to see the difference. So let's go on any side of this object and drag. You click and drag. Okay, right here we are reshaping this rectangle entirely to another thing different. So when we smear this rectangle, it's giving us something with a curved edge. Okay, so let's try this edge right here to see. Let's drag from here. All right, so right here we'll have a sharp edge. Okay, so it is not as curved as this edge we have here, so let's drag somewhere here as well. All right, so we'll still have a sharp edge. So this is how smear tool works. So you can use this smear tool to resize the whole part of this object entirely, depending on the effect you want to get on the object. Okay, so let's drop this tool again, resize this object, and keep it somewhere right here. Okay, so let me reduce this and bring it to the middle and drop this right here. So this is what our smear tool can give us. All right, so let's try another shape. Let's go with polygon this time. Okay, so we'll draw a polygon. We'll drop our tool and we'll make sure our polygon is selected. So let's bring it to the middle so we can work on it perfectly well. Okay, right now we're going to check the fourth tool we have right here, which is 12. Now 12 helps you to form a round object entirely at the part of the object you have already. Okay, so let's select 12 right here. So here is where you select the size and the pressure, that is the rate, and here is how you want it to go, counterclockwise or clockwise. Okay, so right here let's come and check this out. You can just hold on the part of the object you want it to affect. Just click and hold. Okay, so I clicked and see what is happening. So when you're okay with the effect you got, you can just drop. Okay, so let's go for clockwise. You can just make this effect right here. So it's going clockwise this time, not counterclockwise, until we're okay with the effect we have and we can drop. Okay, so I believe these things are very amazing. You can use them to achieve as many things as you want. Okay, as many parts of this object as possible, depending on what you want to achieve. All right, so right now I think we are okay with this, so let's drop the tool we have and minimize this right here so it doesn't occupy the whole space, and keep it somewhere here. All right, so this time let's try another shape entirely. Maybe we should go for circle, that is ellipse. Okay, so let's go right on our drop down and go for attract and repel. Now attract is just like a magnet. It attracts the object to the side you're dragging it to, and it repels to the side you're dragging it to. So right here is where you change the setting, whether attract or repel to, depending on the one we want. So let's try the two and see what happens. So remember, you can as well change the nib size right here and change the rate right here. Okay, so let's go for attract. We can just click and drag. All right, so it keeps attracting it to any point you want it to go. Now look at what we have right here. We have formed another shape entirely out of our ellipse. So we can come to repair right here and see what it does. So instead of attracting just like this one does, it's keep repairing. So let's drag out and see it's going out. Okay, so let's drag, it's going out. All right, so we'll see the difference. Attract makes a very sharp edge, and repel makes a very round edge. Okay, so let's go on and drop this and reduce this very well and keep it somewhere right here so it doesn't affect our object. So we've used these different tools to achieve different things entirely. None of these shapes are the same. Looking at them, if you're not following, you may not understand how to get each and every one of them. All right, so let's go back right here and check the remaining tools, that is merge. Okay, this time around we're going to use rectangular shape. So let's draw around here and drop. So let's keep this one by the side so it doesn't affect, and zoom in so we can see the effect very well. So let's come right here and select smudge tool. So smudge tool is just like a drawing. It changes the shape of the object entirely in a very tiny way. Okay, let's come right here and increase the nib size to 1 so it will be big at least. Okay, so look at what we have here. So we can just drag on the edge of the object, make sure the object is selected. Our object is not selected. Okay, I've selected the object, so we can just drag. Look at what we have here. So it keeps dragging to the sides you want it to go, just like the size of the nibs. Okay, so it gives you exactly the shape you want to have with it. So we can just drag at any part of our choice until we get to what we feel like achieving. So look at what we have right here. We have entirely transformed this rectangle to another thing altogether. So let's drop this tool right here and reduce this one to a little size. Okay, so it doesn't affect us. Now the last tool right here, we're going to create shape for it. So this tool right here helps you, which is the roughen tool. It roughens the edges of your rectangle or any shape at all. Okay, so if you want the edge of your rectangle or the edge of your shape object to be roughened, depending on what you want, you can just come right here and change the size of the nib so it can be visible. You can just come here and change the frequency of spikes. So let's reduce it to 1 because I think 6 is very big. So we can just apply right here, make sure the object is selected. So it's selected. All right, see what we have. It works like frequency, changing the lines of the object just like a wave. Okay, so we can just increase right here. Sorry, that is not what we should increase. We can just increase right here to 7. So let's see what happens this time. It adds a lot. So you can just drag to any point of your choice to make sure that it roughens it to the way you want it. So look at what we have here. So it helps to roughen the edge of your object. So I believe 1 is the best because it gives you the exact thing you need, just like a wave font. Those ones are too compacted together. Okay, we can reduce it again to 2 or maybe 3 and see. All right, so this one looks better than this. Okay, so this is all about the tools we have right here, and I believe we understand how differently we can use each of them to achieve what we want. So we can just look at each of them and try ours over and over again and know how we got all these effects. All right, So make sure you get perfect with it so that anytime you need to reshape your object, it will be easier for you. So practice and practice, and if there is any problem, do go on and use the question and answer section. Thank you, and see you in my next video lecture. Hi, in this video lecture we are going to talk about the crop tool. Okay, we also have other tools right under the crop tool, and these tools helps us to cut out the areas we don't want, and we can delete them. Okay, crop tool helps you to cut out the area you don't want, and it deletes automatically those areas that you're not interested in, and the rest of the areas you selected are going to be the one left for you. Knife tool helps you to divide your object either into two or any numbers of your choice. So video segment deletes the part that you actually selected, showing that you don't want that part anymore, and eraser helps you to clean out those parts you don't want at all. Okay, so before we go into this crop tool, let's first of all get an object right here. Let's go on and get a polygon. We can draw this polygon right here. So let's drop the tool and drag our polygon to the middle so we can see what you're doing. So let's go on and give it a color. Okay, we'll have blue here. So let's go on and try the crop tool and see what it does. So here, when we select the crop tool, we have to drag across the area we want to be selected. So we drag. So these places right inside the box are the places that are going to be left for us, and the areas right outside the box are the areas that are going to be deleted. So if you're using Corel 2021, you're going to have these two options right here, which is clear or crop. So if you're not interested in cutting out these areas anymore, you can just go on and clear, that is cancel it, or you can just go ahead and crop it. So let's go on and crop this object by clicking on crop right here. Okay, so this is what we are left with. So the other areas around it are deleted, and now we are left with the areas right inside the box we selected. So let's drop our crop tool and drag this our area right here. Remember, this was a polygon before, and right now it's looking like another thing entirely. Okay, so now let's select another object so we can use it to practice our knife tool. Okay, let's give it a yellow color, and let's go to our tools and select our knife tool. So knife tool helps you to cut an object into two. So right now I can cut this particular rectangle into two just the way I want. I can also cut it as a curve. Okay, so right here, whenever you select your knife tool, you're going to see options right up here. Now this helps you to crop the way you want. Do you just want a straight line? That is 2-point line mode. That is drawing straight line. That is cutting directly from up to down. Okay, so now that we've done this, let's go on and drop our crop tool. Let's deselect. Sorry, we still have the crop tool. So let's, okay, now let's click again to show us that these two objects are no longer the same. So say we can drag out this one, and then we'll have this one. Okay, so this is what our knife tool can do for us. Not just all. Let's drag this one and make it smaller. Keep it right here. Draw another rectangle right here to see other things that our knife tool can do for us. So let's select the knife tool again, and then we are going to see the options. So here is freehand mode. You can just crop freely. That is not making actually a straight line, but anyhow you want it. See right here. So I've successfully cut this object again. So let me drop, and then unselect, and then select again. So we'll have this area separate and this area separate. So this is what my freehand gives me. Okay, so let me highlight it, reduce it again, and keep it somewhere right here, because we're still working with our knife tool. Now let's select polygon this time. Okay, let's select polygon again, and let's drop so we can resize it to the shape we want it to have. So let's bring it down to this place, and let's give it a fill which is red. Now we want to know the other things that our knife can do for us. Now here, this one is bezier mode. This one helps you to crop, and at the same time it gives you a curve. Okay, so now let's select this and let's come down. Here you can drag from outside the point and then to any point of your choice, and then you can rotate it to maybe a curve. Okay, but remember, for it to cut very well, you have to make sure that the areas you selected, the area you drop your line, has to be outside. Okay, so now we are okay. We can double click to drop. Okay, so we've cut this polygon again. So let's unselect all and then select one, and you see this is what we have right here. So the same thing you can do with freehand, you can as well do with bezier mode, but just have it in mind that freehand bezier mode gives you a perfect curve more than the freehand mode. Okay, so let's go on and highlight all of this and keep it to one place, minimize it, and keep it right here, so that this will remind us what we did and how we were able to get it. So I believe that is all. This one is a normal crop tool, auto close on cuts. So whenever you use this one as well, maybe you should get a rectangle, give it a color tool, and then get our knife tool, selecting this one. We can just drag across, and then we can as well bend. Trust me, this is the normal mode. So whenever this one is selected, it simply means you can select any of other things out here and use it to do your cropping. So we ended up doing the same thing just like we did on this polygon right here. So see, we'll have two different shapes. Okay, so let's bring them together and maybe highlights as well, reduce them, and keep it by the side. Okay, so now let's go here again and see the other tools below. We have video segment delete, which helps us to delete the segment that we don't want entirely. Okay, you can just select it and come and drag it across this particular part, and then it's going to delete everything. So we deleted everything here and we have only the lines left. Okay, so this is what video segment delete can do for us. Let's just end it on the video segment delete tool we have right here, and in our next video lecture we're going to talk about the eraser tool, the zoom tool, and the pan tool. Thank you, and see you in the next video lecture. Hi, I welcome you back to this video lecture, and in this video lecture we are going to talk about the eraser tool, which is right under our crop tool right here. You can just come right here and pick your eraser tool, or you can use the shortcut X to pick your eraser tool. And we are going to talk about the zoom and pan tool, which we have right here as well. We're going to learn how these things works. Now let's go back and drop what we have. So right here we'll have to select an object, which is going to help us to see the effect of these things very well. So let's go on and select a rectangle. You can just draw it as big as we want it on our workspace. So you can just go on and give it a color right here. Okay, and drop our tool. So right here is our rectangle. We can as well give this rectangle an outline, which is very visible. So now the way eraser tool works is not like normal eraser, like in real life when you erase something it's going to go out entirely. No, eraser tool is going to erase the part of the object that you want it to erase, but it is not going to remove the outline as well. That is why I increase the outline so we see the effects very well. so it can't remove the outline except you want to remove the outline before erasing. You can just come right here and right click and the outline will go. Okay, that's the only time it looks real. So sometimes you may erase something without removing the outline. You may be wondering what the problem is and why it's not giving you the real natural look you want it to have. So you have to make sure you remove the outline before you erase. Okay, so let's go right here and select our eraser tool. Now eraser tool works in two different ways. You can erase on a straight line, you can erase roughly depending on how you want to erase it. Let's just say I want to erase it in such a way that I want to divide this object into two. Remember, dividing it into two doesn't mean like cutting it into two with a knife tool. It's just like I want to erase the middle part of this object and I'll be left with two sides of it. So I can just click on any point I want outside the rectangle and then drag it across the rectangle. So as soon as I drop this object right here, it's going to clean out everywhere the line passed through. So here is where you can set the round nips or the square nip depending on the one you want. Okay, so here is where you can set the eraser thickness. Okay, the thickness we'll have right here is 0.25. We can decide to make the thickness 1 so we can see the difference. All right, so it's bigger now. So as we can just come right here and click right here and drag across our object and click. So you see the effect is now very big because it raised a very huge part of this object. All right, so we can as well choose square and reduce this one right back to 0.25 so we can easily do what we want. 0.25. okay, so we can choose square and we can come right here and drop right here and drag across this object and see it erases it the same way. Okay, the only way you're going to see the effect is when you erase in the middle of this. So at the end it's going to have a square shape, and if we select rounded nips and we erase right inside, at the end it's going to have round shape. Okay, so we'll have two different things here. So as we're erasing these things, we'll still have our outline right everywhere we erase, just as we have it right here. Now have it in mind that this object is still the same thing. It's not divided into three parts, it's just still one object. So how do we know that? We can just drop right here and move this object around. Can select and move it around. You see every part of this object is going to go with us. Okay, showing that we still have one object, just that we erase some parts of this object. Okay, so coming to clean our object roughly, we can just go right here again and select our eraser tool, which is right here, and then we can just clean just as if we have no direction at all. Let's just use this area right here. We can just clean. Okay, so this is creating another shape entirely, you see. So in this case we can even use our eraser tool to create a new different shape altogether, because it's going to make it look smoother and even give us the exact thing we want. All right, just like a brush tool. Okay, so let's come right back here and undo erase. Okay, we can as well undo erase again, so we'll get what we have before normal. So this is how our eraser tool works. So we can go to zoom tool. Now zoom have different ways that it works. Okay, right here we have where we can zoom in. We can just click on where we want to zoom in and it's going to zoom. Can continue clicking as much time as we want and it's going to keep zooming till we get what we want. Okay, right here is where we zoom out. You can just click right here and it's going to keep zooming out until you get what you want. So let's zoom in a little bit and drag it down right here. So right here is where you zoom to selected object. Okay, let's create another object right here. Okay, we'll have these two objects. All right, so we'll have this right here and we'll have this rectangle right here, and remember this ellipse is the one selected. So let's go to our zoom and zoom to selected object. It's going to zoom only the ellipse and not the rectangle. All right, so it zoomed the selected object alone. So where we want it to zoom all the objects on our workspace is we come right here. Okay, now it's going to zoom all the objects on the workspace. Once we click, it zoomed both the ellipse and the rectangle. So this is how zoom tool works, and I believe it's very simple. Okay, so let's go to the last one we'll have here, which is the pan tool. Now pan tool does no other thing else than to help you move around your workspace. You can just move carrying your workspace around. Okay, just like carrying both the objects you have right here and the workspace around, you can just keep it to where you want it to be. Okay, so where you can use this thing effectively is in a situation whereby you zoomed to a very massive point and maybe want to see this part of this erased area very well. We can use our pan tool, which is right here. Can just come right here and select our pan tool, and we can just drag to the parts where we want it to be. Remember, it does not reduce the zoom in, rather it's helping us to drag to the parts where we want to work on. So this is what our pan tool does for us, and I believe these things are very simple, so we can just go on and practice them over and over again. And if Hi, I welcome you back, and in this video lecture we are going to talk about the freehand tool, which is right here, and everything right under it. Okay, so here is our freehand tool: 2-point line, bezier, pen, B-spline, polyline, and 3-point curve. Okay, so all these tools helps us to make a line in our workspace, but each of them have the way they create their own lines. So let's go with freehand tool. Let's drop first and get rid of our rectangle right here. So now freehand tool helps you to draw two kinds of line. It helps you to draw a curve, and it helps you to draw a straight line. Okay, so once you get your freehand tool, you can just click on any place of your choice where you think you want to make a line, and you draw depending on what you want to draw with it. Right now I think I'm making a wavelength with it, and see, at the end of the day you're going to get a very smooth line that looks like a wave. Okay, now trying to make a straight line with it, you can just click on any place of your choice, because you can make two kinds of line. You can make a vertical line, you can as well make a horizontal line depending on what you want. So making a horizontal line and vertical line are just easy. You just have to click on where you want the line to start from, which is anywhere right here. You can just click, select anywhere of your choice just once, and then you drag. Remember, you have to follow the guideline, and you can change it to vertical line if you want. It can remain horizontal line. Okay, you can even use it to make a diagonal line, whichever one you want to do. So in a situation whereby you just want horizontal line and you don't want any movement while drawing this horizontal line, is either you follow the guideline or you hold your control. So holding my control right now, I can only move horizontally, no longer vertically or diagonal. Okay, so it's either a horizontal line or I'm making no line at all. All right, so when I'm done still holding my control, I have to click, and then I remove my hand from the control button, and I've successfully made a very straight horizontal line. So the same way, you can just click. While making a vertical line, you can as well hold your control, or you follow the guideline, which is the line, the blue line, which always helps you to show you that you have a perfect line, a straight line, or maybe a diagonal line. Okay, just holding your control, you see, to never move it any way again. So when you're done, you can just click and remove your hands from your control, and you've successfully made a line. Okay, so you can as well bring this particular waveform, that is what it looks like right here, so it will look as if it's a wave graph. Okay, so we successfully made 3 different kinds of lines using our freehand tool. Here is where you can change the outline of the line. You can either change it to any point of your choice, making it 4, it's going to be thicker, and here you can change how you want the line to appear. Is this dotted? Anyhow you want it to appear. You have so many options left here for you. You can select any of this and you see your line changes from what it is before to another thing entirely. Okay, but let's keep it at solid, that is thick line. Okay, so here is where you change the arrowhead. Do you want your line to have an arrowhead? So here is the starting point and here is the finishing point. So if you click right here, any arrowhead you selected right here, it's going to appear on your starting point. So let's select this one and see our starting point just changed to an arrowhead. So same way, if you select the ending point, the line changes or have an arrowhead at the finishing point. Okay, so this is how you get your lines using freehand tool. So that is not all. We can go back right here to check out what other tools does for us. So let's bring this one to the middle and make sure we keep everything in line so we don't have mistakes. Okay, so now let's go to the second thing we'll have right here, which is the 2 point. This one just makes a straight line for you, either vertical or horizontal lines. It doesn't make any other thing apart from straight line. So you can click at any point you want to start the line from and drag to where you want the line to end. You've made a horizontal line. The same way, you can start from any point you want and drag to the point where you want the line to end. You can hold your control so it doesn't move. You can as well leave it. You can also make a diagonal line without holding your control, but if it must be a vertical straight line, you have to hold your control. Okay, so that is it. We've made a diagonal line, not a vertical line again. So it gives you 2 points, just like the name implies, just 2 point line. Point A, which is the starting point, and point B, the finishing point. Okay, so let's go to the Bezier tool. Now this one creates as many points as you want. So anytime you click on any place, it joins the line from the starting point to the place you clicked. Look at what I mean. You can just decide to start creating a line from the middle right here. You can click and there is no line yet, so wherever I click, it's going to join the line with this particular node we already have here. So let me click right here. So I've joined the line. Same way, if I keep clicking, I keep joining the line, you see. So I can make any other shape of my choice using this Bezier tool. So depending on what I want, at the end of the day, I might decide to join the two nodes together. And just click here and I've successfully made a shape with my Bezier tool. That is what Bezier tool does for you. You can as well use it to make a curvy line by clicking on where you're starting and then you drag. See, when you're dragging, it's curving the line you have before, and then you click again, it joins. You can as well drag from there to make a curve for you. So when you're done, you can just double click to drop. Okay. So now let's talk about the other line tools which we have here. So we'll have pen tool. Pen tool helps you to make a straight line as well without much changes. Okay, so let's drag this up here and then let's create. So pen tool helps you to create a curve line. You can create a curve. You can as well create as many curves as you want. Wherever you drop, it joins the other one. Now the difference between this pen tool and the Bezier tool is just when trying to use a Bezier tool, you don't see the line. The lines you're making are not visible, but pen tool will have to show you the line and the direction it's going to go when you click on another point. So as well, you can use it to make a shape of your choice. You can as well use it to make a line, a straight line, or anything. So whenever you're done, you have to double click on the last node to drop. Okay, so let's go to other tools and see what they look like. We'll have B spline right here, which makes a curve for you, like a 3-point curve. Okay, you can make a straight line with it, and wherever you drop and dragging to any other place is going to give you a curve line. So it creates 3 nodes for you, and it gives you a curve: node 1, node 2, and node 3. Not just that, you can just go on and create as many nodes as you want, but at the end of the day, you're not getting a straight line, rather you're getting a curved line. You can as well make a straight line with it. Okay, at the end you have to double click to drop. Okay, so that is what B spline can do for you. It helps you to create curves. Then we'll have polyline, which is right here. Now polyline, just like other ones, does the same work too, but this one is a freehand line. You can use it as a freehand, you can use it to make a straight line. You can just click and pick another point and click. Then if you want to make a rough line, you can just drag it. You see, I'm just dragging and it's making a rough line, and without dragging, it's giving me a straight line. That is the work of polyline tool, and they have nothing. So all of these tools have something right here in common, which is where you can change the type of line you want, where you can change the point, the outline, and where you can give the head an arrow depending on what you want. So let's go on the last one we'll have right here and see what it does. We'll have 3-point curve. Now this one gives us a curve that goes with 3 points, or can select right here and drag to anywhere of our choice. You click and you drag to the point where you want the second node to be, and then from there you can drag to give you a curve. So it gives you just 3-point curve without any other thing. Okay, so I believe with this we have understood how every one of these freehand tool works, and we can use them to create whatever we want to create easily and quickly. So let's go on and practice these tools and know how each and every one of them works, and we'll get used to them as well, so that at the end of the day we can be able to use them effectively, because we're still getting to the main design where we can create so many kinds of objects with all these tools. So thank you very much, and see you in my next video lecture.